Enjoy all episodes of the RCWR Show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio.
Catch the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Spreaker.com. Covering all things WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Global Force Wrestling, Paragon Pro Wrestling, any and all things wrestling and beyond, as well as an occasional appearance by some kick-ass awesome guests. 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Spreaker.com. Hey, if you can't catch our shows live, you can scoop it up on demand on great platforms such as Spreaker, iTunes, Mixlr, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and on YouTube. Just use the keywords, The RCWR Show. Tonight's edition of The RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is brought to you by FreeStream. Everybody, how would you like to cut your cable or satellite TV bill down to zero? Well, you can with FreeStream. Why FreeStream? FreeStream is capable of streaming entertainment from around the world, including live TV, music, gaming, and the latest movies, you name it. FreeStream offers over 100,000 titles of movies for you to stream anytime you want, day or night. That's 24/7. Current movies can stream right from your box in HD quality at the highest resolution that's available. Hey, are you a sports fan? Watch any sports event live from anywhere in the world in the highest quality, streamed live right to your television. If you miss any live programs or new episodes, you can stream them from start to finish with FreeStream at your convenience. There's over 1,000 TV channels, everything from local to premium channels, all available through FreeStream. And the best part, folks, the best part about FreeStream, it's legal to stream programming/content. It's only illegal to download or change the content. So with that in mind, are you ready to cut your cable or satellite bill to zero? Then head on over to www.cutyourcable.biz. That's www.cutyourcable.biz. www.cutyourcable.biz.
Warning, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond. Since 2011, you're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
What is going on, boys and girls? Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me for the Sunday night of, what is it now? June 19th, 2016. You're checking out an all-new The RCWR Show. I am, of course, the Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders. Come one, come all. We're going to be talking about, you guessed it, WWE Money in the Bank tonight. Yes, yours truly did check it out, and I want to just give you all a heads up right now that's going to be interacting with me live for the next little bit. I am actually off work. Rare occasion here that I am off work on a Monday, but work's getting a little bit slow at my neck of the woods with regards to the 4th of July holiday coming up and all that. So I had a couple of people send me private messages and all that, and they were like, dude, how can you be watching wrestling when you should be watching Game 7 of the NBA Finals? And I said, well, quite honestly, because I don't have to get up for work early the next day. So what I ended up doing was recording Game 7 on my DVR, and as soon as I get done off of here, I'm actually going to go watch the game in its entirety, fast forward through all the commercials and all that. I even extended it to 90 minutes so that I can see the post-trophy celebration and all that. So please, long-time listeners, do me a favor, especially those of you that's going to be interacting live in the chat. do not post the results of the NBA game. I repeat, do not post the results of the NBA game. I have been doing a solid job, really dodging social media all night, putting whatever I needed to put out there on Twitter, but that's pretty much been it. So something told me that something monumental was going to go down with tonight's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it, but something told me that something monumental was going to happen. And it's so funny because when me and Titus, and shout out to Titus, he's probably checking this out right now. When me and Titus were offering our pay-per-view predictions, I thought, like, no chance in hell were we going to see a Game 7 on Sunday. I was that confident because part of me was kind of going, well, you know what? Is it possible that maybe to compete with the NBA, to give fans like, hey, you missed this at Money in the Bank. This is what you get for not watching because you saw this go down. You would have seen this go down if you would have been watching it. But I was like, nah, because I felt that Golden State Warriors was going to wrap it up on Thursday night. And then it really didn't dawn on me that something monumental at Money in the Bank was probably like gonna happen until it got closer and closer to game time. And that's when I kind of said, you know what? WWE, they're gonna pull a nice, serious swerve. And boy, a swerve did they pull. Yes, indeed, a swerve that they have pulled. I'm just putting out these last little bit of tweets right now so that we can get this party started here. So just bear with me right here as I'm trying to get the social media plugs out. And if you guys are following me on Twitter, I'd appreciate the reshare of these links I'm getting ready to put out here. Facebook as well. Oh, I guess I should probably plug all the usual links, right? Twitter at the RCWR Show. Facebook, Infinity One Productions. That's with an E. Spell out one. Infinity One Productions. I'm always interacting with the good folks over there. And what I'll probably do, if you guys want to try to get my attention as far as like your reactions to tonight's WWE Money in the Bank event, well, I mean, you got the live chat. You also got Twitter, so you can definitely interact with me on there. And we are pretty much good to go now. All right, so I got the links all out there. And we can shut that down now. So, yeah, man, you talk about a monumental, a historic Money in the Bank pay-per-view event. And I tell you, WWE, when they were promoting this, they kept saying, oh, this is like WrestleMania, this Money in the Bank edition, this Money in the Bank that we have this year is very monumental. It's got a WrestleMania type of feel to it. And yes, it did have a WrestleMania feel to it. We might as well get the elephant out of the room right now. We have a new WWE Champion. We have a new WWE Champion. We got to kick things off with the main event because that's just how we got to do it. I'll go in order, but we got to address the biggest elephant out of the room because I'm sure for a lot of you guys that were checking out the basketball game and you probably just all of a sudden saw your Twitter or your Facebook just light up from your friends that's in the wrestling. So we had Seth Rollins taking on Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I first off have to just commend both of these men, but in particular, I got to just home in on Seth Rollins because this go round, and look, I understood the story completely of what was being told during this match, which was, hey, Seth Rollins, he's been out for about 7 months. Just what type of a state is he really gonna be in? Because yes, he's been training, he's been rehabbing that knee that he messed up, and they basically sidelined him. Doctors said that he was probably going to be out for a year, maybe possibly longer. Some even suspected that his career was pretty much over. There was no chance that he was going to be able to get in the ring and wrestle again. And he defied all of those odds, came back not at 80%, came back at 100%, even more so. Hell, he probably pushed 110% in coming back to do what he loves doing, which is professional wrestling. And he goes into this match, and that is the story in itself right there. The most simplistic story that any wrestling fan can kick back, recline in their seat, and watch how the match unfolds. It is just, on paper, with the right individuals, a timeless classic. This wrestler is coming back from a major injury. What type of a position are they going to be in? How are they going to be physically? They've got a lot of ring rust that they need to shake off. Yes, they may have been training and all that, but they won't really know what they're truly capable of until they get in that ring and they take on somebody that is, if not at their level, a little bit past their level, so that that person has to meet that level. They got to come up to that level. And Seth Rollins, for me, look, he did a phenomenal job in this match. He looked better than ever. The knee is definitely at 100%. We saw a couple of spots during this bout where Seth Rollins did that pickup power bomb, if you will, from the top turnbuckle. That one move that had blew out his knee initially when he had took on Kane at a WWE live event months back. He did this move to Roman Reigns not once, but twice, really letting it be known that the Nima, it's 100% and it's better than ever. He did a series of flying moves in between the ropes. He even did a couple of flying high spots off of the top turnbuckle. So this was pretty much Seth Rollins that, when you really break it down, wasn't being more cautious, wasn't being, okay, well, let me cut back on this. I mean, if I were to just find anything as far as his offense goes, out of 100% when I compare it to the Seth Rollins of old and how he operated in the ring, I would have to say we saw probably 80-85% Seth Rollins. And I think that's mainly because of the story that was being told to us from the viewing standpoint, just in what type of a state was Seth Rollins going to be in physically in taking on Roman Reigns, a guy that has been the WWE Champion not once, not twice, but 3 times. And he just seemed, this third reign as champion, finally started to build a little bit of swagger, finally started to build a little bit of confidence. He was finally starting to, in my honest opinion, and to each its own, but in my honest opinion, Roman Reigns was finally starting to put all of the pieces together. And it was really starting to shape up very well. I thought he was having a solid run as WWE Champion. So in my mind, I said, hey, there's no way. We even had Titus on here. Even Titus said, no, there's no way that Roman Reigns is going to lose the WWE title, because they're going to milk this for what it's worth. They're going to ride this on now till probably SummerSlam. But folks, closing moments of this match, a great match at that, between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, which, by the way, this Money in the Bank event came to us from the new T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I gotta give a big shout out to the fans that were there in attendance. They did a pretty decent job for the most part. I will give them that due. But I love the reactions that Seth Rollins had got from the Las Vegas crowd. Roman Reigns, it was like, dude, we are tired of you. Can you please just go sit down, have a sandwich already, have a bottle of Coke, and chill. Let somebody else run with the belt. Let somebody else be the face of the company for a while, because we're just tired of y'all together, man. I mean, that's how much the crowd was really, really, really into Seth Rollins, let me tell you. And I just thought that was kind of hilarious, considering the position that Seth Rollins was in when he was the face of the company. Storyline-wise, as far as what was playing out during this match, we saw a lot being thrown now. We saw Seth Rollins hit Roman Reigns with the pedigree not once, not twice, not even 3 times. If I'm not mistaken, at least during the bout, there was 4 pedigrees. One of them was somewhat of a modified version of the pedigree, but it came at an awesome time almost during the closing moments of the match, as we had saw Roman Reigns try to go for a spear, and Seth Rollins just immediately jumped in the air, lift his knees up, was able to catch only one of Roman Reigns' arms, and was just using the momentum from Roman Reigns' body to turn that bad boy into a modified, kind of half-assed pedigree. A lot of near falls during this match. We saw Roman Reigns deliver one sick-ass jackknife powerbomb. I mean, it was basically Razor's Edge meets a sit-down powerbomb. That had pretty much got Roman Reigns a near count. But it was really kind of going towards the closing moments of this match is where things started to get a little bit controversial. So we see at some point Seth Rollins, he rolls out of the ring and he's over at the announcer's table and he's calling for something. You're not really sure what. You don't know if maybe he's calling for somebody to hand him a hammer or the ring bell or the WWE title, but he's asking for something. Roman Reigns is a little bit perplexed, so he actually tries to give chase to Seth Rollins, kind of gingerly the way that he tries to approach Seth, and he kind of realizes that, hey, Seth isn't really paying me any attention. He doesn't see me coming. Alright, I could probably get the surprise on him, spear him through the announcer's table / barricade area. So Seth Rollins at the last moment sees Roman is coming for him. And the next thing you know, we see Seth just get out of the way. Roman just, wham, knocks that wall barrier down completely. You also hear on the opposite side some steel chairs, some other stuff. And Roman just looks like he's got his brain rattled. He just looks scrambled big time. We see other ring officials come out. There's a medical doctor that comes out. Everybody's trying to check on Roman, see if he's okay. Seth Rollins is looking kind of like, what the hell is going on here? This is like my moment. If there's ever a time I should be capitalizing, it's now, because they stressed the stipulation for this match that the only way Seth Rollins could become the WWE Champion was he either had to pin Roman Reigns or make Roman Reigns submit. So obviously, with the title not being able to exchange hands on a count out or no contest, Seth smells blood. He's trying to go in for the kill. And so we see Seth, he eventually breaks up the whole medical staff, the officials, and he gets Roman back into the ring. And I forgot the sequence that happened after that, but I know Seth had went in for a cover, and I believe that was like a 2 count, and then he tried to look for another pedigree. Roman Reigns countered that. I forgot what Roman was getting ready to look for, but the referee got inadvertently taken out, and I believe Roman did a spear to Seth Rollins again. And by the time the referee had came to, that was pretty much a near fall in itself right there. And from there, we had saw Seth Rollins just come right on back. I believe it was with another pedigree to become a 2-time WWE champion. The place just erupting big time. Now, there would be a flip side to this, as the celebration would not last. And I gotta tell you, for this main event match, you talk about enough of a story to be told for this match. Now, I'm not sure how many of you guys are hip to this, but WWE started telling their pay-per-view, satellite, and cable providers to, hey, go ahead and charge us for an extra 20, 30, 45 minutes, because we're going to start having some, not all, we're going to start having some of our pay-per-views run into some serious OT, so we can really get through all our matches, so that we can really tell the stories that we need to tell. And this was definitely one of those matches. This was actually one of 3 of the longest matches of the entire pay-per-view card. So just when we thought things were gonna end, I mean, what a great good feel moment right there. Seth Rollins, the WWE Champion, once again. Hey, all right, awesome. What's next? Because you're like, okay, we're getting ready to go off the air. What's next? All of a sudden, we hear the music for the 2016 Money in the Bank briefcase winner, Dean Ambrose. Yes, folks, the insane asylum himself, Dean Ambrose, came on out with his Money in the Bank briefcase. You heard the music. We didn't see Dean. We thought maybe Dean was going to come from the gorilla position, as Seth was waiting on him. Dean, on the other hand, had other plans in mind, as he attacked Seth Rollins from behind with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Got the referee out of the ring. Gave him the briefcase. Said he wanted to cash it in. Gets in the ring. Seth Rollins, he's barely able to come to. He's trying his best. He's staggering as he's trying to get himself well grounded. Bell rings. Dean Ambrose hits him with dirty deeds. 1, 2, 3, 9 seconds. It's over. Dean Ambrose is your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And you just can't help but go, WTF, what in the blue fuck did we just witness here with Money in the Bank? So now that we have really set that up, and look, you better enjoy what I'm talking about right now, because for the rest of the card, so enjoy this enthusiasm that I have with regards to the main event matches that we had. Got to close it off for all it's worth, because after this I'm just gonna be blazing through the results for the other matches. But now that the dust has settled and we had all this go down, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of hardcore Roman Reigns fans that's gonna go, well, I don't quite understand, like, why did they do this to Roman Reigns? Why would you make him a WWE champion 3 times in a period of 6 months? You have him go through the Authority, through Triple H. You have him lose the title to Triple H, only to win the title from Triple H at the biggest stage of them all. You have him in this program with Brock Lesnar and all that. You just connect the dots, and it's like, okay, you do this great enough of a build-up, and then Roman Reigns is still having a hard time getting over with the vast majority of WWE fans. Yet at the same time, as I mentioned at the top of the show, he was finally starting to get into the groove of things. He was finally starting to find his own. He was finally starting to piece everything together. And yet the title gets taken off of him. I know there's probably going to be a good chunk of you fans that's going to be like, why? I don't quite understand this. Why? Well, a couple of things come to mind as far as why this move was done. Number one, I feel in my heart of hearts, and trust me with what I'm getting ready to say. First off, don't be too surprised if in the coming days, several wrestling news sites learn from their respective sources that WWE booking creative kept going back and forth on what should happen with the WWE title. Don't be too surprised if a majority felt that Roman Reigns should retain. And then don't be too surprised if up until the day of, they decided to change their mind and go in a different direction. I really would not be too surprised if we kept hearing reports that Roman was going to retain or that Seth was going to go on ahead and get the title. But then somebody, probably part of WWE creative booking, probably brought up a very good point, which was, look, we're competing with the NBA Finals. There's not going to be a lot of people that's going to be checking this out, but when we have our replay come on, it's pretty much coming on right when the game is over, so they're going to hear the buzz throughout social media on what happened. That's going to lead them to checking it out. It's going to get us a lot of buzz, and we're going to need that buzz in setting up Monday's WWE Raw and the next batch of WWE main programming shows. So, honestly, it's a good formula if you really think about it. If you really think about it, it's a good formula. It's a good route that they decided to go. If I'm thinking about things from a writing standpoint, and remember, I do have experience as a writer, having written my own graphic novels, writing articles, pieces for my respective website. I've written for other websites in the past and all that. From a writing standpoint, it just makes a lot of sense. From a business standpoint, this makes a lot of sense because now you can possibly, if you want to entertain it, you can go in the direction of all three Shield members going at it for the title. Maybe not just at Battleground, although you could definitely tease it. I'll tell you what's going to happen. I think with Battleground, you're probably going to have Dean Ambrose take on Roman Reigns for the WWE title. I would really be shocked if Seth Rollins gets put into that whole equation, seeing as how he only held the title for 9 seconds. But you kind of have to have that in the back of your mind. That possibly could be something that could play out at WWE Battleground. And we got to give that Battleground event a lot of credit because over the years, it started off pretty sluggish. Didn't go off to a good start, if many of you all recall. But over the years, Battleground has picked up more and more as far as the caliber and the quality of matches, story arcs, things of that nature. So I wouldn't really be that surprised if we saw all three members of the Shield in a triple threat match. But if you're really smart about it from a business standpoint, you pull the trigger on that at this year's SummerSlam. That's your big money maker right there, because when you look at the current pay-per-view lineup, Battleground is about 5 weeks away. That's going to be happening July 24th. Verizon Center, Washington, D.C., right here in my backyard. I don't know yet if I'm going to be going to that event, folks. I'm not sure just yet. So you got about a month to go until WWE Battleground. Now, after that, you got SummerSlam, which is going to be coming up August 21st. So, I mean, you're 2 months away from SummerSlam. And I'm just thinking from like a promoting standpoint. I'm just thinking about what would really get a lot of eyes, what would really sell a lot of tickets at the gate, the pay-per-view buy rates, network subscriptions, all that good stuff. If I'm thinking about a main event for SummerSlam, all three members of the Shield, come on, history has shown repeatedly that when you have all three members of the Shield together, it's a bit of a ratings draw. You can still make some good money off of that, merchandise and all. So I really wouldn't be that surprised if they pulled the trigger on that. Of course, there's another direction that they could go. As I mentioned, Tuesday night, they could always go in, wow, now that they've switched it up, actually, that kind of puts a monkey wrench into some of the things that I had talked about. So we'll actually leave that as a cliffhanger, because I've got to marinate a little bit more on just what exactly do they do at SummerSlam if they decide they don't want to go in the triple threat with the Shield going at it for the title. But so you got that side. You've got that side. But then you kind of got to flip it just a little bit more. And look, before I go any further, I probably am only going to be one of a few people that's going to publicly say, Roman Reigns, head up high, you did a hell of a job as the WWE Champion all 3 times. Out of his tenure as champion, his reigns, I enjoyed this third one the most. I thought he was just starting to really scratch the surface. I thought he was really finally starting to find his peak. And, you know, I've heard nothing but good things about Roman Reigns. I've heard how much of a team player this guy is. Anything that is needed of him to go out and do, he does it. He's a real team player. Just easy to get along with. One of the first guys that's there at the arena. One of the last to leave. Willing to do any and everything that's humanly possible to make a team effort to get whatever results that the company needs. And when you have a guy like that that has been busting his ass down in developmental, coming up the ranks, you know, trying to do everything the right way. And he's got a lot of motivation to have it go the right way, because he's got a beautiful young daughter. He's got a nice, pretty wife, a girlfriend wife. So a lot of motivation right there to make sure that all that remains intact. I've heard nothing but good things about this guy. A real good company guy. So, you know, for me, from the bottom of my heart, I definitely appreciate everything that Roman Reigns has been able to do thus far. He's still a young man, a long ways to go. I mean, he's barely started to scratch the surface of his truest potential. Roman Reigns fans, I don't think you guys have anything to be sad. You don't have anything to be disappointed about. I think now that the title is off of Roman Reigns, it's going to be a really fun, a really interesting chapter to see what is next with regards to the continued growth and development of Roman Reigns, the overall performer. So I can't wait to see. And honestly, if anything from his match with Seth Rollins was an indication, I think there is a bad boy under the surface just waiting to come out. I mean, you guys gotta check out the match if you didn't see it, but man, was he kind of manhandling the hell out of Seth Rollins. He was basically like in this position where, I mean, he was just talking mad game to Seth Rollins. A lot of smack talk he was spitting at him. Smacking him up upside of his head, roughing him up. I mean, you couldn't help but kind of feel a little bit bad for Seth at the way this guy was coming at him. He was almost kind of acting like a bully a little bit. If that's a taste of things to come for Roman Reigns, because I saw hints of a heel turn with what I was watching. And I know some of you all may be like, Lee, I'm not overanalyzing that. When you look at how he handled Seth Rollins in this match and you compare it to how he's been acting in his previous matches, in his previous pay-per-view matches, this was something of a different element. And I'm all fine for that. I want to see more of that side of Roman Reigns, because I was really, really loving that. And hey, I can't end the talk about this whole wow of an awesome moment without giving love to Dean Ambrose. I mean, God, somebody asked me a good while back, they said, do you see Dean Ambrose eventually becoming the WWE Champion? And I said, quite honestly, does he really need to be the WWE Champion? No, he's doing a very solid job. You have some performers, look, just because you are in the WWE, it doesn't automatically mean, okay, well, eventually you're going to be a WWE Champion. It doesn't mean that. But for me personally, I kind of felt like, yeah, when the time is right, maybe he could be a WWE champion, but like first, Roman Reigns got to get his go at it. Seth Rollins got to get his go at it. But yeah, I always felt that somewhere down the road, Dean Ambrose was going to get his run. And it's kind of interesting how things played out, because just a couple of years back, when you just look at when the Shield had first got together and all that, they came up on the main roster, and then you look at the Wyatt family and all that, I couldn't help but just be like, okay, in a couple of years, who's going to be the WWE champion? And I never forget this, because I actually sat down when these guys were like fresh on the main WWE shows, and I was like, okay, out of these guys that I'm seeing right now, who would be WWE champion, say, in about 5 years or less? And the very first guy that I had looked at was, if I'm not mistaken, Roman Reigns. Then I went with Seth Rollins. Then I went Dean Ambrose. Then I went with Bray Wyatt. I said, man, you know, if I'm looking at the next 5 years, those guys are going to be holding that WWE title. And notice the order of that list that I had. And it's just so interesting how, you know, I almost kind of got it right, because when you really think about it, Seth Rollins, he out of the Shield, he got the belt first. Then it went to Roman. Now it's on Dean. Honestly, for Dean Ambrose to be the WWE champion, I'm ecstatic for him. I just really hope that this symbolizes for the IWC out there that this is a different WWE organization that's being run, as opposed to the WWE organization you recall from 5, 6, 7 years ago. We are in a day and age right now with the WWE where they really realize that the heart, the truest heart of professional wrestling is talent. And it's talent in a way where, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with homegrown talent. Nothing wrong with that. WWE have their developmental center and all that, and they have definitely produced some pretty solid performers. I give them a lot of credit for that. But I tell you, when you get to be in the position where, hey, look, we have to continue to evolve. We have to adapt with the changes. Look at what all of these other wrestling promotions are doing. Look at how they're utilizing these people.
when you have the right people, and I got to commend WWE because they've got the right people that's in play that are watching a lot of these guys out there on the free agency market, as I like to call it, and they're going, hey, look, if we can get the talents of that person, it'd be really awesome if we could, bring them in. Just imagine with what we'd be able to do with them and our resources to make them be an even better performer than what they already are. I just really hope that the IWC as a whole can really loosen up more, because too many times to this day I continue to see wrestling fans that they're not going to use this guy right. I don't have faith in the WWE. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, if you were always a fan of that performer, I've said it time and time again, if you've always been a fan of that performer, you should continue to give them your support. Good times, bad times. If you grew up watching them and you love them, you're going to follow them through and through. So it's just really, really, to see where Dean Ambrose was before coming to the WWE and to just see where he is now. I mean, if you would have told me a couple of months back, hey Lee, so in the next coming months, Dean Ambrose is going to lose to Triple H at one pay-per-view, Brock Lesnar is going to kick his ass at another, he's going to lose the IC title a couple of times, he's going to basically appear to be in a little bit of stalemate, and you were to say to me, but after all that passes, he's going to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, I'd be like, how? I don't really see that coming about. How are you going to pull that off? Like, how? And I tell you, even going back to his feud with Chris Jericho, never had the slightest, and I don't think anybody called that. Dean Ambrose, WWE Champion by June, I don't think anybody called that. Find me somebody that had made that prediction and I'll buy them a fucking beer. But to my knowledge, nobody called that. And I don't mean, oh yeah, well I got, no. I mean a nice, laid out, well thought out plan that actually came to fruition. It was called right down the middle, accurate, of Dean being the WWE Champion. I don't think anybody could lay claim to that. But Dean Ambrose, I'm definitely ecstatic for him. Let's go ahead on that note. Let's talk about some of these other matches that had came about. I told you guys, I'm not going to be talking that much about the rest of the matches. We got we're about 42 minutes into the show. Let's see if we can try to wrap this up in under an hour. Yeah? Alright, so the rest of the matches that we had, some of these I did not see, and the ones that I did not see were the pre-show matches. Golden Truth, Goldust, R-Truth, they defeated the team of Breezango, Tyler Breeze and Fandango, tag team match. That was part of your pre-show. Meanwhile, you had a second pre-show which featured the Lucha Dragons. They defeated the Dudley Boys, another tag match. Watched a little bit of the kickoff panel. It was somewhat decent. Renee Young, Booker T, Corey Graves, and Lita. How I miss Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler having his own problems this weekend. We'll get into a little bit more on that on our Tuesday night edition of the RCWR show, which you can catch this Tuesday night live, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. Actual pay-per-view match card itself. New Day, Big E, Kofi Kingston defending their WWE Tag Team titles against the Bullet. Oh, I was about to say the Bullet Club. The Club, man, they're the Bullet Club. On this show, I'm calling them the Bullet Club. The Bullet Club's Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows against Enzo Amore and Big Cass against the Vaudevillains, Aiden English, and Simon Gotch. I thought this was a decent way to open up the Money in the Bank card itself. Pretty solid. It was really solid. I tell you this much, and I just really, I can't stress it enough, and I'm just going to keep saying this, even if I turn blue in the face. And that's, you just got to feel for the Vaudevillains, especially if you are a NXT fan and you followed their career down there in NXT. You just got to feel for these guys right now, because you've got the commentators, they're trying their best to help get the Vaudevillains over, but the crowd reactions, and in Las Vegas tonight, it was obvious Las Vegas, Nevada did not give two shits about the Vaudevillains. And that's just really sad, because those guys are really talented. And it just kind of goes back to something that I had asked Titus earlier this week on the show, which was, what do you do with the Vaudevillains? Do you maybe have them go back to NXT, or is it pretty much swim with the sharks, swim with the big boys, or sink? And I just kind of have this funny feeling that NXT might not be an option for these guys right now. I have a feeling that they've got to figure out how to get it all together, but I just really felt bad for these guys tonight. They got like no reaction from the moment that they came out. If there was a reaction, it might have been like maybe 5 people booing, but I'd say there was like really no reaction for these guys. Everybody else had a reaction except for the Vaudevillains. They really weren't even a main factor in this match. When I really think about it, they kept getting their asses handed to them. They were definitely on the receiving end of the ass beating for a majority of this match. A couple of times there, it looked as though Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows was gonna get the tag team titles, but New Day with the retain. Good strong opener right there. Once again, we had got Baron Corbin taking on Dolph Ziggler. Honestly, I would have preferred to have seen this match on a pre-show and maybe put the Lucha Dragons and the Dudley Boys in its place. Like if we could swap out. But I will say this much, and I know this is probably going to be a tough sell for some of you guys, because I know there are some of you that are just tired. Tired is not really the right word, it's understatement. But I know there are some of you guys that are exhausted with seeing Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. This has been going on, when it's one thing when it's clicking, right? And then it's kind of like, well, we got a good thing going on here, let's continue to run through it. But when you go past one match and you're like, yeah, okay, that was alright, and then a second match and it's like, really? But the first one wasn't really, like, come on now. And then it plays out on TV, and then you're like, oh, hey, by the way, these guys are going to be fighting again on the pay-per-view. You're kind of like going, what exactly is my motivation here? Like, why should I be checking this out? Why should I feel invested in this particular match when I know I'll be able to see these two guys lock it up again on Raw, SmackDown, Superstars, wherever, right? So, I will say this. With this matchup, this was the absolute best out of their, 10 encounters or something like that. This was actually their best match to date. It started off a little bit slow. Honestly, the first half of the match, we kind of like saw the same old rhetoric from the previous matches. And it was getting to a point where the Nevada crowd was actually chanting boring. And they really cranked it up when it came to Baron Corbin. When they saw him get on the offense and he was trying to play up to the crowd, they generally just did not like that guy. And you know what? Say what you will. He's got a decent look. I still feel he needs to do something about that hair if he's going to keep it. Get a little bit of Rogaine, do something with that hair, put it in a bandana for a little bit. I like to see him do a hair versus hair match. If it was me personally, I would love to see Baron Corbin. If you really want to get this guy over, if I'm WWE, if you really want to get this guy over, have there be one more encounter. Now, I know some of you guys are like, Lee, hey, it's obvious the powers that be think that they've got something going on here with Corbin versus Ziggler. And whether you love him or hate him, Corbin does get a reaction out of people. And I am just a old school fan in that I've always been a believer in any reaction is better than no reaction. And he's getting reactions. So for me personally, if you really want to have fans kind of feel a little bit invested into Corbin and really want to see him get his, I'd like to see a scenario play out where hair versus hair, Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler, hair versus hair match. And honestly, I would have Baron Corbin lose. This would basically be a good opportunity for him to go to Bosley or Hair Club for Men, and he can get some transplants, put it into his scalp and all that, and he can wear a bandana for a good hot minute. And then once his procedure is over, months down the road, just let that hair grow out and he could pretty much pick up right where he left off from there. Somebody needs to put him in contact with Chavo Guerrero, because no bullshit, Chavo had went through, if I'm not mistaken, Bosley, and he had got some damn good results. He still has his hair to this day. If I'm not mistaken, Chavo had lost his hair twice. Started to thin out twice, and he had went through Bosley and got the hookup and all that. So, but no, Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, they actually had a really good match. Like I said, the first half of it was about 12 minutes long. First half of it was but I tell you what, I think what really started happening was when Dolph Ziggler heard the boring chants and the heckles. It was kind of like he started to take the lead over that and just kicked it up a notch, sent it in the overdrive, and that's when the fans really started coming into this. It was kind of like, boo, oh, hey, oh, yeah, this is actually pretty good. So, but don't be too surprised if maybe we see a hair versus hair match. I think that would be very interesting. Pee break for me for this next match. Actually, no, it was actually my popcorn break. I actually went downstairs, made a couple of bowls of popcorn. Love that new ranch seasoned salt that you could put on the popcorn. Oh, God, love that. That is awesome stuff right there. By the time I came up, I knew I really didn't miss anything because it was about a 5-minute match. Charlotte, Dana Brooke defeating Natalya, Becky Lynch. I still don't quite understand why the women's title was not on the line. The only thing that kind of made sense to me is like maybe eventually Sasha is going to come up and is going to feud with Charlotte. I mean, that's the only thing that kind of makes sense to me, because I'm still picturing that Sasha Banks big payoff at SummerSlam with her becoming the new women's champion. How much of a factor will Dana Brooke be up to that point remains to be seen. But Dana Brooke, Charlotte defeating Natty, Becky Lynch. Dana Brooke helping out the women's champion big time, as there was a critical moment where we had saw Charlotte and Natty, they were going at it. We saw Dana Brooke, if I'm not mistaken, she tried to interfere, and as that was going on, Becky Lynch tried to get in there. Dana grabbed the hair of Becky Lynch and just flung her in the direction of Natalya. At which point we saw the ref try to have Dana Brooke get out of the ring because Dana was not the legal person. And we saw Charlotte connect with Natural Selection on Natalya to pick up the victory for her and Dana. Post-match, interesting tale in itself. Natty just really, really hurt is the best way I can describe it emotionally, that she did not pick up the W. Becky Lynch trying to apologize, let her know there was a screw up. Next thing you know, we saw Natty just go belligerent. She just attacked the hell out of Becky Lynch. And honestly, when I saw this go down, I kind of said, okay, you know what? It's obvious that the powers that be still have plans, decent plans in mind for Becky Lynch. And honestly, I thought this was a nice way to try to help get that fan support for Becky Lynch. It's obvious that upper management, they see something in Becky Lynch, and rightfully so. She is a solid in-ring performer. If you ask me cold-heartedly, I personally cannot stand her when she does commentating because I don't understand a lot of the things that she's saying. I'm not knocking her accent. I'll leave that for other people to dissect and make fun of. But I don't understand a lot of the things that come out of her mouth. And I feel for the people that have to do closed captioning, because a lot of times, you don't believe me, go check it out yourself sometimes. But when I have Raw or SmackDown and I have the closed captioning on, because sometimes I'm doing a lot of multitasking and I'll miss something, so sometimes it's kind of nice to kick back and just be able to read the stuff that's on the screen. The closed captioning people even have a hard time translating what the hell Becky Lynch is saying. So, but no, in all seriousness, I think it's good that we've got this nice little program here that's going to be going down between Natty and Becky Lynch. Honestly, it's been a good minute since I've seen Natty as a heel. A good minute. And the last time that she was somewhat of a heel, it wasn't really enjoyable. I really didn't particularly care for it. The gas gimmick. Anybody remember that one? Anybody choose to still remember that one where she was running around and she was passing gas? I don't know who the hell. Well, what sick, disturbed? Probably Vince McMahon. I don't know, but I don't know what sick, disturbed person came up with that for a gimmick. That was just what the hell. Apollo Crews defeated Sheamus. Singles match. A lot of credit needs to go to Sheamus. He was trying to be that big bad heel. He was trying to be that asshole. That's the best way I can describe it. He was really trying to. I gotta give him a lot of credit. Sheamus tried to do everything that he could to get this young man over. No doubt, and I've been giving this young man, Apollo Crews, a lot of praise. And I mean, it was a nice little victory. I mean, that's great bragging rights. Hey, he defeated Sheamus. He defeated a former World Heavyweight Champion, a former WWE Champion. That's great. That's great. I saw exactly what they were trying to do as soon as they had these two guys bump into each other on TV weeks back. I was like, okay, this is like exactly what Apollo Crews needs. Let's see if he can capitalize on this. And the crowd was a little bit kind of, hey, Apollo, yay. They really didn't care. Which sucks because Apollo Crews is a great in-ring performer, but he's got to connect more. Two areas. He's got to connect more with the fans, really getting them over, really playing their emotions, really connecting with them. You can't just do a kip up and you go, come on, yeah, you can't rely on stuff like that. You can't rely on flashy moves, backflips, and all that other stuff to basically get you over. A lot of people care about the personality. So, and it's quite sad because, quite honestly, if Apollo Crews would have been around during the AWA days, or if he would have been around during WCCW, oh my God. Old NWA territory days, the money that they could have made off of him. I mean, oh God, enough said right there. But yeah, Apollo Crews, I still have faith in this young man. I just really think he needs to work with the right person that can really bring out that. I know he's got that charisma, but he's got I saw a taste of it too from SmackDown. What was it, earlier this week or 2 weeks ago? He kind of had a little bit of swagger there when he had assaulted Sheamus and all that, and it's kind of like, yeah, give me a little bit more of that. He's almost kind of got that Big E syndrome. He's almost kind of got that Kofi Kingston syndrome. I don't know if maybe putting him with the New Day might help him a little bit or what, but I need to see a little bit more ooze out of him. Match of the night, match of the year, caliber quality type of match that we had got. AJ Styles versus John Cena. Good God almighty. What do I say about this match? Fucking fantastic. Fantastic, man. Oh, if there was ever a reason to check out Money in the Bank other than the main event match, which I talked about at great length, AJ Styles, John Cena was indeed a fucking classic. It was a classic encounter. AJ Styles, for almost a majority of the match, just downright embarrassing John Cena from the technical aspect of wrestling. I mean, he was just owning him. John Cena trying to come up with every single way to come at AJ, but AJ was countering. But I tell you what, man, when the momentum had finally swinged in favor of Cena, Cena was keeping up with him. One thing about this match, though, overall, that I did not like, I did not appreciate hearing the audibles that John Cena was making towards AJ. And anybody that has not seen this match yet, when you go back and check it out, you're going to see what I'm talking about. You could hear John Cena more than once, clear as day, yelling out audibles. I mean, you crank your TV just loud enough, you can hear word for word what John Cena was saying. But I wasn't even trying to listen like that, but I could just hear John Cena, and ready? And I'm like, oh, fuck, here it comes. And sure enough, about 3-4 seconds later, boom, there it was. And I just was like, and it was really a buzzkill. And I wasn't being, I know some of you guys may be like, Lee, you sure you are being a little bit too critical? No, I was just kicking back. I wasn't looking for anything. I just noticed it as I was watching, and I was like, John, can you stop doing that? What the hell, man? But despite the audibles, still a fantastic match. Closing moments, we saw AJ Styles. Oh, what happened here? There was a really great sequence. I'm trying to picture how it had went down. Oh, I want to say John Cena had tried to look for the attitude adjustment, and I believe he had connected, but AJ Styles had kicked out. I mean, it was a great story that they told between these two guys, because these guys came at each other with everything that they had. But that damn club, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, they would capitalize. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. John Cena tried to go for a attitude adjustment, and AJ Styles tried to, I think, go for the ropes, and somehow the referee inadvertently got knocked out while AJ was still on the shoulders of John Cena. And then, boom, attitude adjustment. John Cena tries to go for the 1, the 2, the 3. The match should be over. Referee is still out of it. Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, they get in there. They do that move. I'm not even trying to think of. I've seen that move called so many different things. I'm thinking kill switch right now, but I know that's not the name of it. But they hit their little tag team move on John Cena. They grab AJ Styles, put his arm over Cena. They roll out. Referee counts the 1, counts the 2, and the 3. AJ Styles wins this first encounter. And it kind of follows up to what Titus had said earlier in the week when we were giving match predictions, which was, this is how you basically get to SummerSlam. You have AJ, and we both were in agreement that AJ really needed this victory, because so far since he's been up on the main roster, he hasn't really been able to capitalize on his pay-per-view victories, if you will. So this was a significant win that he needed. And honestly, I was a little bit upset with the way that it went down, was because I just really wanted for there to be just a clean finish. Because I know we're going to have some people, part of the IWC, they're going to be like, oh, there's that John Cena politics. There's that John Cena BS. He's the modern day Hulkster, stirring it up. I know. That's the type of rhetoric that you'll find online at a lot of places. John Cena, first of all, does not have that much goddamn pull in the entire world. And second of all, you had a great first encounter between these two guys. Match of the year caliber type of match in this first encounter. Any wrestling promoter that's out there that gets the opportunity to have AJ Styles, John Cena for their respected show, and you get to do business with these guys more than once, oh, hell yeah, you're probably going to do some type of a swerve story where you do a best of 3, best out of 5, whatever. So it's good that they did it the way that they did it. It's going to have a lot of people talking. One thing is for certain, and I think the hardcore AJ Styles fan, even fans of his from the old TNA wrestling days, I think y'all would have to be in agreement that this was definitely a win that AJ Styles needed. Not to mention, it's just really awesome to see where AJ Styles is now that he's finally getting his opportunity to be on the main WWE roster. He is holding his own very well. When it's all said and done, this program that he's doing with John Cena, whether he gets the best of the series or not, in the long haul, this increases his stock even more. This increases his popularity even more with the WWE fan base, especially with that TNA fan base that remembers a guy like AJ Styles, and then they hear, oh, he's in the WWE now? What's he doing over there? And it's a nice big domino effect. If I'm TNA Wrestling, I'm probably crying right about now that we no longer have the services of AJ Styles, but at the same time, Marketing 101, hey, you guys pumped to see AJ Styles versus John Cena tonight at Money in the Bank? So are we. Remember where he really came to shine? It was here at TNA. And you can relive all of his greatest matches right now with the Essential AJ Styles collection. It's like these guys just like put it out and they did like a commercial for it for like a month and then they forgot about it. And it's like whoever is in charge of their social media is like they piss poor job promoting that damn DVD, man. The Money in the Bank ladder match, freaking solid. Dean Ambrose, as we told you, he defeated Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Great main event. Not main event. Great Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, when I just like compare it to previous Money in the Bank ladder matches, honestly, I've seen better. Yeah. I mean, it was a great, good feel moment to see Dean Ambrose. My picks, by the way, I ain't come close because I basically had said Kevin Owens or I think I said Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn, and you know, sadly, it wasn't either of those two. But at the same time, it's good that it ended up being Dean Ambrose there. Talk about a nice little swerve. And we had one more match. Rusev defeating Titus O'Neil for the United States title, making him tap out via his camel clutch. Rusev Crush. I mean, my God, you do this great build-up with Titus O'Neil coming back and all that, and then you just have him submit clean in the middle of the ring. You can't help but kind of go, God damn, so much for a program right here, huh? Like, where the hell does Titus O'Neil go next after this one? Like, does maybe Darren Young, with help of his life coach partner Bob Backlund, maybe slide in here? Make Darren Young great again. Let's make America great again. Donald Trump reference there. Kind of curious there, man. Kind of curious where they're going to go with Rusev now. Because, I mean, that was just... I was so expecting Rusev to basically kind of go, Titus O'Neil, too man enough for me. Lana, come, we go now. And Rusev settles for like a count out or something like that. And that basically like continued. I don't know, you just can't help it when you see a match end like this. You can't help but kind of go, wonder if old man Vince is kind of cashing in on that little big payback or Titus for what went down some months back. As if the suspension wasn't enough. Great, now that you're back, I'm going to make you eat a little bit of shit for a little bit. Just for a little bit. And then, eventually, you know, we'll bring you on back up to where you were before stock-wise. I don't know. Overall, though, Money in the Bank, decent. You know, really what really made it, honestly, the main event match for the WWE title, Cena, Dean Ambrose, cash it in. AJ Styles, John Cena, that was the match. Honorable mention, I would have to give it to the tag team match for the titles. But other than that, honestly, it's good that WWE had did this pay-per-view the way that they did it, because they definitely needed to give fans a reason to feel like, hey, I really need to be checking out this pay-per-view. And they gave fans that reason. It's like if you chose to watch the NBA instead of Money in the Bank, this is what you missed. So it's nice how they had set this up. And like I said, with this fresh setup that they did here, it creates a ton of interesting, exciting new story arcs for the weeks to come, and setting up Battleground at the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. I don't know yet if I'm going to go. I'm going to try to see if I could even entertain that option. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But insane. Just an insane night. Solid way for that pay-per-view to pretty much wrap up and set up 5 weeks of what should be some exciting WWE programming. So on that note, we're going to go on ahead and we're going to wrap up the show. This one's in the books. Your next edition is going to be coming at you on Tuesday night, June 21st, 2016. We'll be coming on live 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. And that's going to be a fun show in itself. We'll talk about WWE Raw key points. I'll have Money in the Bank aftermath thoughts. You all will definitely appreciate that. We'll also dive into the very latest and all things entertainment, pop culture, and beyond. You know, if it's got you all talking, we're definitely going to be talking about it here on the RCWR show. If you can't get enough and you enjoyed what you had heard here tonight, make sure you rewind and check out this past week's RCWR show with special guest, the Evil Genius of Professional Wrestling, Mr. Titus Machiavelli. We did a solid 3-hour show bouncing around on all different types of topics. It was a pleasure having him on. We're going to be doing that again when it comes to SummerSlam in August. But check that episode out from earlier this week. It was really freaking solid. And if you need some music ideas and you are into rock, if you're a fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you've been out of contact with their music for a couple of years now, there's a really great review that I did exclusively on YouTube. I'll probably upload the audio of it later on in the week. Maybe. We'll see. But right now on our YouTube channel exclusively, I have a review up for Red Hot Chili Peppers' new The Getaway album. So go check that out. First time in 26 years that a Red Hot Chili Peppers album is produced by someone else other than Rick Rubin, because Rick Rubin has done a vast majority of their stuff. He's got like 6 albums to basically show for it, give or take. Danger Mouse produced this latest effort. So for those of you that may be a little bit on the fence, checking out that album, check out my review for it on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/the RCWR show. Remember, I'm on Twitter, same name at the RCWR show. I'm on Facebook as well, Infinity Wood Productions. That's with an E. Spell out Wood, Infinity Wood Productions. That is going to do it. Money in the Bank gets a pass. Until next go round, see you this Tuesday night, June 21st, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. Check out our show on various platforms. All the links you need is in the episode description. Very good night and good morning.